To buy or not to buy in Vancouver? That question has turned into a full-on identity crisis, and everybody has an opinion. Your parents have an opinion, your coworkers have an opinion, even people who don't own property will tell you exactly what your next move should be. For years, the message was simple. Buy at all costs. Get into the market before you're left behind. But right now in late 2025 and going into 2026, the answer is far more complex. For the first time in a long time, there are real data-backed arguments on both sides for buying and for renting. On one hand, the detached market in Vancouver is weakening. Vancouver's west side is sitting at an 8% sales ratio, and Vancouver East is at 9%. Those are deep buyer market levels. Prices have come down as well, and sellers are negotiating, and there is real value showing up that we haven't seen in years. At the same time, financial markets are offering long-term opportunities we haven't seen in a decade, and even Vancouver's rental market, which felt untouchable for so long, has shown months of softening. So today, let's look at the numbers honestly, let's talk behavior, and let's look at what your wealth could realistically become over the next 25 years, depending on the path you choose. Before we get into today's numbers, I want to take you back to the year 2000. Vancouver's median home price was around $300,000, and two people have $60,000 saved. One buys a detached home and one rents a detached home. In the year 2000, the median detached home price in Vancouver was around $300,000. So with a 20% down payment, which is $60,000 up front, and a $240,000 mortgage rates then were hovering around 6% with a 25-year amortization, putting the monthly mortgage payment at around $1,540. Now add the real cost of ownership. Property taxes around that time averaged close to $150 per month, and insurance was roughly $75 per month. Maintenance using the 1% rule works out to be around $250 a month. And when you put all that together, the total monthly cost to own that home in the year 2000 was around $2,015 monthly. Over 25 years, that totals roughly $604,500 paid into that home. But here's the key. $240,000 of that was principal, which becomes equity. So the real cost of owning that home for 25 years was about $364,500. Meanwhile, that same detached home appreciated from about $300,000 to roughly $2 million at Vancouver's long-term average growth rate. So the homeowner's net worth becomes the final home value minus their true long-term cost, roughly $2 million minus $364,000, leaving them with just over $1.6 million completely tax-free because of the principal resident exemption. Now let's look at the renter in the year 2000. Renting a detached home was around $900 a month, so the gap between renting and owning was around $1,115 monthly. If the renter invested their original $60,000 plus the $1,115 monthly difference at a realistic 7% return for 25 years, their portfolio would grow to roughly $1.105 million. But that number is not after tax net worth. Their total gain is about $1,045,000, and in Canada, 50% of that gain is taxable as a capital gain. So if this individual did not use their TFSA or did not have the room like they did previously, this is what you would be looking at. Assuming a 35% tax bracket, that's about $183,000 in taxes owed, leaving the renter with approximately $922,000 net. The final result, the buyer ends up with just over $1.6 million of net worth tax-free if they chose to sell, and the renter investor ends up with around $922,000 after tax. Over 25 years, you can see that there is a clear winner here. Back in the day, if you were to purchase real estate instead of renting with those parabolic gains that we saw in the mid 2000s, you definitely had a leg up over owning. But now let's bring this into 2025. We're going to run the numbers again, but this time we're using today's home prices, today's rents, and realistic long-term growth assumptions. So if you buy a detached home in Vancouver for $2 million, just like the example that we had before, in 2025, you're putting $400,000 down and carrying a $1.6 million mortgage. At a realistic 4% rate with a 25-year amortization, your mortgage payment is about $8,000 $2,420 a month. Add property taxes at about $600 a month, maintenance at about $1,667 per month, and your true cost to own comes to about $10,687 a month. Now compare that to renting a similar detached home, which averages around $5,500 a month. That means the renter has a surplus of about $5,200 a month, money they could invest instead of putting into ownership cost. This is where the comparison really matters. Before I show you the final numbers, there's something important we need to talk about, because this is where almost everyone gets the rent versus buy conversation wrong. When you invest in the stock market, the number you see on the screen is not your real net worth. Investment growth in Canada is not tax-free. When you sell, half of your gain is taxable as capital gain. So when we look at the renter investor's outcome, we can't use a pre-tax number. We have to look at what they actually keep after taxes, because that is their real net worth. Real estate works differently. The growth on your principal residence is 100% tax-free in Canada. There are almost no tax shelters left in this country, but your home is one of them. And when you're talking about a detached home growing for 25 years, the tax advantage is massive. So for this comparison, to be fair, we're looking at after-tax investment wealth for the renter and tax-free equity for the homeowner. This is the correct way to compare these two paths. So now let's finish the math. If the renter invests the $400,000 down payment plus the extra $5,200 a month for 25 years at a conservative 5% annual return, their portfolio grows to about $4.447 million before tax. The total gain is just over $4 million. Half of that is taxable, so about $2 million is added to their taxable income at a 35% tax rate. They owe around $708,000 in tax, and likely if you are in a bracket where you can afford $5,200 a month plus a $400,000 deposit, your tax rate is likely higher than this, but we're just being conservative in this evaluation. After tax, the renter investor keeps about $3.7 million. Now compare that to the homeowner. If the $2 million home grows at a conservative 3% per year, actually below Vancouver's long-term trend because we're being conservative here, it'll be worth about $4.18 million after 25 years. Over that period, they have paid about $926,000 in mortgage interest, roughly $180,000 in property taxes, and around $500,100 in maintenance costs. Their true non-equity cost is about $1.606 million. So the homeowner's net worth becomes the future home value minus those true long-term costs, leaving them with about $2.57 million. And again, all of that is tax-free. So here's the real conclusion. Yes, renting and investing can absolutely win. In this case, that renter investor ends up around $3.74 million net after tax, while the homeowner ends up around $2.57 million tax-free. The renter comes out ahead, but only by about $1.1 million, and only if they invest $5,200 every single month for 25 years without missing a single contribution. And that is the difference most people overlook. The math works, the behavior doesn't. Less than 5% of people have the discipline to do this. Most people don't invest their surplus, they spend it. They inflate their lifestyle, they get inconsistent, and that's why real estate works so well for the average Canadian. Your mortgage forces you to save. It builds equity automatically, and your gains are tax-free. So yes, renting and investing can win on paper, but only for people with exceptional discipline. For everyone else, buying remains one of the most effective and tax-efficient ways to build long-term wealth in this country. And in a buyer's market like the one we're entering in 2026, timing and patience can make an even bigger difference. So if you are looking to purchase, or you're thinking of selling and upsizing, and you need to help with some strategy, book in a discovery call with me. You can scan the QR code in the banner below. The link to my calendar is in the description. Make sure you download those home buyer and seller blueprints. Thanks again for all your support. Look forward to the comments, and I'll see you on the next one.